Yeah. So, firstly, I appreciate you all for coming out to this event. I know people just got off work, and we're gonna try to make it worth your time, obviously. At any point during this whole entire session, you go in the back. There are snacks. There are things to drink. So please take advantage of that. My name is Philip Dixon. I am a film director and writer in town, and I am leading this event, once again, called Bridging the Gap. That is when you cheer. I'm joking. But no, seriously, appreciate you all being here. This is gonna be fun and hopefully informative as well. This is gonna be think of it as thirds in terms of format. Oh, Paul Vitros, hey. Think of it in terms of thirds in terms of format. The first third is gonna be small groups. So you all, you have name tags, and you might have noticed that there's little numbers on your name tags. And you're going to go where the moderator of that group is with that number. And they're gonna lead small group discussions, kind of with the questions in mind, talking about the film community in correlation with the theater community as well, and have larger discussions with larger questions about said things. Then, after that, you're all gonna come back to your seats right now, where you are, or different seats. Do your thing. You're gonna come back here, and then all the moderators are going to have, a conversation with you all about what their groups talked about in regards to these questions that they brought and presented to you as well. In that, do not be afraid to raise your hand if you have something to say, as long as you say it respectfully, with diligence and all those fun and respectful words. We're gonna have a larger conversation based off those immediate questions from each individual group, because your group may have a different outlook than another group. So together, we can come and ideally have a larger discussion that will lead towards, once again, bridging the gap. Cool. And then after that, we are going to have something to end it, and it is called forced selfless promotion. So essentially, think of it like this. It is speed dating, right? But you're not actually dating, obviously. It is speed dating concept, but you're gonna have a certain amount of time to network and with the person across from you at that L-shaped table right there, a minute to make sure the person across from you gets your contact information. If that's Facebook, if that's Instagram, if that's your phone number, whatever, your email, whatever you feel is most appropriate, so that when we leave here, that we actually have each other's contact information. Because if it doesn't, none of this matters. None of this matters nearly as much if you leave and you do not continue to talk with each other. Do you agree or disagree? Agree. I assumed. So that is the format, the general format of how we'll go about today. And right now, I will call on each number of the individuals that, the group leaders, I guess you would say, of the numbers you have on your name card. And then you will, when I say go to those individuals, surround them. These chairs do come off the ground or roll if you're on this side, fancy chairs. And just surround them. And so we can have, once again, a larger group or moderated group discussions about how to connect these dots. All right, sound good for everybody? All right, so stay seated. Who is number one? Moderator number one, raise your hand, please. Oh, that's Skylar Johnson over there. So you have number one on your sticker. That's where you go. Moderator number two. Yeah. Amanda, please stand up. Yes, please. That's Amanda. That's moderator number two. Once again, number two on your sticker. Go there. Oh, claps. Okay. Moderator number three. Logan. Fantastic. Moderator number three. Moderator number four. Cody. Yes. Moderator number five. That is Angelica. Fantastic. Moderator number six. Erica Dixon. Peep that last name. And then moderator number 7, Summer. Summer. All right, so fantastic. And once again, check the little small number on your sticker. That's where you'll go. And I say adieu to you all. Go. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maya. I am the committee head for the One Night Stand. It is a timed competition in which you get 3 prompts early in the morning. You have 10 hours to complete your film. It gets screened that night and that night only, hence the name, the One Night Stand. This competition has been a long-standing tradition in the IFC. It has been around for, I believe, around 25 years now. What does this competition mean to me? Boy, this competition is an opportunity to work with different people, perhaps people that you've never worked with before. But its main purpose is to help you learn time management. You can't work on any one part of your film for too long or you're not going to be able to complete it. So you have to make sure that you have your script and your locations ready on a timely manner so that you can be done shooting by early afternoon to allow for editing. I hope that you will join us for this One Night Stand this year. It's going to be a fantastic time. Get your friends together. Get somebody with a camera if you don't have one. Find somebody who's interested in acting, and have a great day.
Okay, so I'm Mandy. I don't actually have any background in film or theater, so if I ask a stupid question, you guys are not allowed to be mean to me because it's ignorant, I don't know. But this is a perfect opportunity for me to learn, and I'm very excited.
So how'd you get roped into this?
Because I'm friends with Philip.
Okay, all right.
And he said, do you want an opportunity to talk to people? And I said yes.
There you go.
Say less. So we've got a few questions, but I figured right now we'll just kind of go through, everyone get to introduce themselves just so we all are acquainted, and then we can get into some questions. Start us off.
I'm Wendell Simmons, and I've been just going around the film really about 10 years, and I mostly shoot for other people. Shot him several times, different situations. So I bang around, I point cameras at things.
Nice.
Next.
Hi everybody, I'm Jamel. I do a couple things within film. I mostly do things with media. Yeah, but I'm a multimedia specialist, so I do a lot of things, hands-on cameras and stuff like that. I act a little bit.
I'm Jordan. I do like film and animation. So I mostly just been short films and animated short films, music videos, stuff like that. Been doing it I would say since I was 13, but those were all stupid iPhone 3 short films. But I really got into music videos and real short film stuff maybe 2015, 2016.
6 shirts.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, very cool.
I'm Mason. I do film. I mostly like to write and act, but I will do any position on a set. I'm doing a lot of PA work right now, and it's a lot of fun. I went to film school at Wichita State, and I moved here in November, so I'm new to all of this.
Hi guys, my name is Gideon Madison. I'm an actor, performer here in town. I've been acting for around 10-ish years now. Started when I was a teenager. I went to North Kansas City High School. Shortly after that, I got into a musical called Memphis with Black Repertory of Kansas City. It's my first time working with professional actors and union actors as well, and that was a very great experience to kind of baseline how I was going to approach going into community here. And after that, I did a couple other theater productions in town with, I did another one with Black Rep a couple years ago, and then I did the Black Box Theater, and they were really great. I did the Laramie Project during the COVID era, which was really crazy. I had masks on, we filmed the performance, really cool. And shortly after that experience, I just started to delve into film. I met this really great individual named Destin Judith, He lives in LA now. He was very much he's a filmmaker, writer, really talented. He got me into film. We met each other in men's group at church. So, and he decided to cast me on the spot for a film that he was making called Ushers. Ushers at the Drive-In, and it starred my best friend, and I was a supporting role in it. And then we collaborated on another project shortly after that. It was a solo project, very very dramatic, kind of like performance, kind of juxtaposed like the previous one was like a comedy. And since then, I've been working around, and yeah, I've got my website just made, and been marketing and trying to get my name out there. So I'm really happy to be here, guys.
Hi, Gideon.
Sorry.
My name's Raheem. I've been acting since I was 7. I think it was my first musical was The Jungle Book. Acted all throughout like middle school, and then when high school came around, I stopped acting for a couple years and got into lighting design and did lighting design and board operation for a while. I got back into acting senior year of high school, and then went to college for theater. Did both, and then once I got out of college, I actually stopped kind of doing theater and film and stuff. I think I was in a short film, or I was in a film, I think 2 years ago called Behind the Scenes. Actually got nominated for a film festival, but then the film festival I can't, so it's okay. But great film. But yeah, I've kind of been laying low on the acting side of things, just kind of been chilling. I got into modeling recently. So that's kind of been taking up all my time, and I make coffee, and I love coffee.
What coffee shop?
Dame in the River Market.
Love.
Yes.
Who were you in the Jungle Book?
I was Wolf Cub number 2.
Okay.
So yeah.
Jefferson Donald. I am a writer-director. I'm old as dirt, so I've been in the business a long time. Here in Kansas City about 16 years, make short films here. And also live action and animation as well, so love animation. Absolutely love it.
Hey everybody, my name is Ronald Shelton. Do film and theater. Got into this industry by chance 5 years ago. Enjoyed it from the day I started. Went to my ever second ever audition. I got off the role. I started taking it serious and doing short films. Then my network expanded to plays and got an agent. So I started doing commercials, voiceover stuff. So things just kind of picked up. So I'm here, expanding my network, trying to become a better actor, a better person, a better creative. So nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you as well.
I was fortunate to be able to walk around and hear the different groups talk about different subject matters. And some of the subject matters and the questions were the predetermined questions that, to kind of build off of and have larger conversations. And some of you guys, which is, fantastic, kind of took in your own directions and asked different questions, things that are questions that are just as beneficial for situations and kind of scenarios like this. So we're going to talk about a good amount of those things. I wanted to start off by kind of explaining why I personally started this in the first place and why I named it Bridging the Gap. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The thing. I have some friends who are in the theater community, and I never really thought about there being some kind of gap in what that means. But through conversations with them, just like fun conversation, just hanging out, it was pointed out to me that they believed that there was a gap. Now, that gap is going to look different depending on people, depending on your scenario, depending on your position, and we'll get to that in a second. But disclaimer, I'm a playwright, and I'm putting on a play with Terrence. Shameless plug. But it's a play that's being put on in the Black Box in May. And there were a lot of, we held auditions, and the first day of auditions, 50-ish people came out to audition. And in the film community, there were some incredibly talented actors that I had never even seen before. I had never heard of them, and I, had a conversation with a few of them, and they just literally did not have any idea of how to make their way into the film community. And I thought that was a shame, but it would have been even more of a shame if I didn't attempt to do something like this to at least bridge that gap. So that is kind of why I wanted to do this in the first place, and the IFC gave me the privilege to be able to put on something like this. So at minimum, we can at least get the ball rolling. But I'm gonna hand the microphone off to these highly intelligent individuals right here, because they were able to hear more of a, detailed, nuanced kind of conversations with you all in regards to the conversations and the questions that you all had or were answering in the first place. And I want to start off with an initial question from that I will hand the microphone off to Erica, last name, my name, Dixon.
Yeah, I'm Philip's sister. So hi everyone, I'm Erica. Our group thought it was really important to talk about, first, is there a gap, and what exactly is the gap? So before we start solving any problem, we wanted to figure out what that problem was. What we came up with was a lack of collaboration, so there can be a cliquish culture in both groups. We also realize that's kind of how Kansas City can be outside of these communities. We talked about how there's a lack of communication of opportunities that are, it's not flowing between these different groups, and also a lack of accessibility. So knowing where to go, where to find information for the folks that are in this room that work in these industries, but also if you are just a person who loves film or loves theater in Kansas City, it can be difficult to even figure out where the things are happening from the outside. And also, we talked about there being a lack in translation. So there could be something that goes on in the film community that could also go on in the theater community, but there's a lack of language around how to explain how this lighting, like this thing that you do with lighting, could also be used over here. So sort of a language issue there too, and just a lack of translation. Was there anything else that you all came up with or that you talked about that had to do with what the gap actually is?
Also, disclaimer, this is not like a lecture. We're not in KU. So you can, like, if you, if you have or feel a need to express yourself and kind of just like, that question talks to me, and we talked about that more in depth, and you had something to say about it that you think the entire scenario and the entire room needs to hear, or you feel need to hear in a respectful way, obviously just like raise your hand or whatever, and then we'll get to you with the microphone so you can engage with these questions as well.
Are we taking notes? Should I be taking notes? I feel like I should be taking notes.
Will this be on the test?
Yes.
Yes. He's recording, we got it.
Who is? Oh, the guy on camera. Never mind.
We got it.
that.
I was going to say something that my group brought up was that it's just a conflict of schedule too, is what they run into a lot of. Like theater people have stuff where they're performing on the weekends, and that's the time that a lot of film people have to be free to film. So just conflict of just schedules is what a big part of it was for them.
So something that my group went over was film is a clique and theater is a cult.
Yes.
And it kind of, what we really talked about was even just like the idea of like the production of it. You know, you, with theater, you know, you have your people that's like, those are like my stagehands, those are my, you know, this is my writer, these are our actors, we know, you know, this person acts in this particular role. They kind of already have like their group figured out. And then with film, like you kind of make your little bubble and then you slowly, like per each project, are kind of slowly introducing new people, or you kind of keep it the same, but they're never, it's more rare that they're actively like, hey, we just want a whole new bunch of people. We don't know if we can trust or not, but we know with our, we can depend on these people for these projects kind of thing.
We had a much healthier conversation. Like versus cold. No, that's not. You just moderated it. I'm not blaming you. Yeah. I wanted to think of it as sort of like a sales funnel, right? That's like, at the end of the day, like you have the theater community, you have the film community, but like what's bridging the gap? What's bringing them together? And it really seems like there's a same, like it doesn't really feel like there's actually a gap between them. I feel like the real gap is in sort of the infrastructure of the city, in the sense that it's like people know that they want to get involved, they don't know how to get involved. Actors want to do film stuff, film people want to do theater. And we kind of identified like this, like the new work development space as a place where that gap can be bridged. If there's more centralized communication about like what's going on, you know, just more central, like it's a centralization issue. Kansas City's small enough that like we have 80 theaters, and it's like, well, we have 80 theaters, but like, why are we doing that if we're not all actually communicating with each other? So it sort of feels like, yeah, like resource sharing and general like pipeline almost just feels to be like the gap.
Absolutely, and we have an individual with a statement right here.
I was gonna say that like, because the point of like you saying it, like there's actually like theater and film are very similar, but it's I'll use like this metaphor that like with a theater, you're watching someone eat a biscuit for the first time for that whole audience, and it can never ever truly be replicated, and there's the beauty of that. But with film, it's like we're going to record this person eating a biscuit for the first time, and that's beautiful because that will stand the test of time, and we will continue to watch that person eat a biscuit for the first time. So like we're all artists in this room. It's just the way that we present it is just different. And I came in here like exclusively just for theater, never touched a film. So I shouldn't say I've seen film, but I love film. But like again, it's like breaking down resources of like, where do I reach out to like present like this writing of like, hey, this can be filmed, but where do I go? Because it's again like theater, like film's a clique, theater's a cult, where it's like it's hard to open up that group of saying like, hey, you guys are film folks, would you like to do this? And it's like, you know, a little, not like fully like that, but it's again, it's like opening yourself up to people, you know. But that's all.
I'm just going to add to that you would be doing the biscuit for 45 takes in a row for the first time.
But you wouldn't be doing it for 45 nights.
I hope it never takes that many, but you got to eat that biscuit the same as many takes as it takes.
That's 45 biscuits.
My name is number one. Woo, best group and everything like that. We solved we call it as a two-part problem. The first part was that in the film community you have the IFC, but you don't have like a centralized location for theater in their terms. So things like just being able to reach out and promotion and stuff like that is kind of harder to work with those type of resources. So making a centralized location for theater people. And then the other one was just lack of exposure. So we talked about if the theater and film could have different days where they can like advertise, like, okay, this is how you do this in terms of this area and stuff like that. And then, where's my group again? You all spread out. Lolo, where's Lolo? There she is. Okay, hold on, gotta pass it to the mic to her because she had. Alright, she was promoting the fact that the theater groups do have things on a day of the week, and they do specialize in specific training, and I'm gonna give it to her.
What?
Next week, talk about Wednesdays or Saturdays are like days where you guys can come in and do trainings.
Oh, no, we were, our group was talking about that it would be great to have some kind of workshops for people wanting to transition from theater to film or struggling to break into film, which is something I was saying the IFC offered last year. They offered a lot of Saturday seminars, in-depth workshops that I think perhaps there just wasn't enough promotion for. Was the main thing. So getting exposure for events like that. No, I failed too because I was helping run them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please.
Solely because I helped try to determine that maybe Monday night was best because theater is usually dark on Monday night. So I'm curious if you knew anybody that couldn't come because it was a Monday night because it was their only night off for the theater folks. So just curious about that.
I had a question for the theater people in here. Do any of you, before this event, did any of you know about IFC? Casey?
Is that the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did, okay.
It's
So
also a real group, it's not just a Facebook.
It's not just a Facebook group, right.
It's a real group with an official marketplace.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's, we talk about bridging the gap. I don't know if it's a situation, we talk about promotion and things like that, when those theater things come into town, sharing those to the IFC Facebook page, because you guys are the ones that see that. Like, I'm not really in that world besides like, oh, I'll go to, every now and again I'll go to one, and I'm like, man, who is this? That was amazing. But I didn't know this was happening unless a friend of a friend posted it and shared it. So, I mean, maybe that's a way to just, hey, this is happening this weekend. If you're in it, you're in it. If you're not, you're not. But you got a friend that's in it. You're trying to support the project. Like, I think that's one way we definitely can bridge that gap.
just to, and I wanted to say this, I'm hearing Devontae. There is a difference between advertising and promotion. And a lot of people conflate those two. And they are vastly different, right? There's like steps to promoting, and advertising is kind of like putting it out there, and a lot of times like hoping, depending on certain aspects. So that's very important also to keep in mind.
So it sounds like a thing that I keep hearing between all the different groups and what you guys are kind of saying is like communication, and that we should all come together more to do things together more often. And like we said, like there's 80 theaters in Kansas City, and there's all these different film events in Kansas City, and there is, I think, a problem with everyone trying to do their own thing instead of coming together to do a thing at the same time. Like the fact that like this weekend is Panic Fest and KC Film Fest is crazy. You're dividing your audience immediately. Like we are a big-ish city, but we're not a huge city. There's only so many people that can come to an event. We need to do better at not double booking ourselves, not double booking our audiences. And then beyond that, like Devontae said, some people have said about like promotion and social media, everyone's talking about like, oh, we need to, like, if you see something, share about it. It sounds like we all want our content to be shared by more people. Do that for others if you want it done for you. Like, I heard a person say to me once, like, be the fan you want to see in a fan. So, like, if you want people to be sharing your shit, share their stuff. Like, if you make something and it's shared by other people, notice who's sharing that, and then try to share when they put stuff out. Also, if you see something that's cool, share about it, especially if it's local, especially if it's made by us. Share our stuff. Cool, you went and saw Nosferatu. Share the other thing you went and saw. I'm calling myself out. So, like,
wait, you share things?
Barely. I've gotten very much off social media. But, like, apparently I need to be back, sharing the stuff that you guys are all creating, and hopefully you'll share what I'm creating.
Fantastic. Oh, 1 second.
I'm sorry, I'm all the way around.
Okay, cool. All right. Back over one for you.
This is working. So we keep talking about social media. I think most of us are aware Facebook is where a lot of it is going on for film stuff. It's also a very unreliable platform. You know, you will see things posted about something happening tomorrow. You will see it a week and a half later, or not at all. There is someone who is working on this specifically. It's called cinemas.social. And certainly we could probably be working to incorporate theater people into that social platform as well. None of us are using it as much as we are, including me, but that there is something that exists that can be a solution or at least an aid in this. And so I feel like I should be plugging them. That's cinema.social. So.
Investment.
Was that advertising or promotion? That was recommendation, actually.
Who has shared about tonight event on their social media? See, we could all be sharing that, myself included. Wolf called us out. He was the only one in our group who actually posted a photo that he was here tonight. So it's moments like that, sharing every single thing, even if it's something small, like I'm on set, or hey, went to see a play with my friend. Little things like that will catch people's eye. And it literally just takes one post for someone to see, oh, I want to go to that. And another thing we talked about is we're all here to tell a script. We're all here to tell a story. And the more voices who are incorporated into that story, the better we can tell that story. So it does take a team. You know, at the root of it, you know, film and theater, they're an art that needs a community on both sides, the performance and the audience. So we just gotta think about, you know, how we can expand our community. You know, I know we have the IFC, but I don't know if there's a community for theater that's like that. Is there?
Here I come. Camera, no.
Oh my God. Okay, so I was the one who started calling theater a cult, because it is, right? But I think the thing about it is that, like, whenever theater has an audition, it's like rarely like a public audition. It's very like insider almost, like, oh, this group of people is putting together this production, so let's get this college to audition for this. Like, and even in colleges, like, they don't really let outsiders, they're like, who is this guy? Like, why is he here? You know, it's still very culty. Ooh. So I just don't think there's a lot of, it's not like a local, like there's a local theater scene, don't get me wrong, but there's not like a, nobody posts about theater auditions. Like that's not a thing. It's like if you know about it, you do. And if you don't, you don't. You're just gonna miss out because you're not a part of the cult. So, yeah.
I was just gonna say it's very much like that because here like there are 80 theater companies, but it's always like these are like the artistic director and whatnot, and then there's our performing ensemble, and these people do the same roles. It's of like opening up, of saying, hey, we want to do this. But I thought there's something that was interesting with what I don't know. What was it? That you said of theater and film. I think that another thing that makes the gap bigger is that we're all reluctant victims of capitalism. So we don't, because theater people and film actors, everyone, we're starving artists, like it's like how do we pay, like how do we get paid? But it's opening it up to say, no, they're like I affectionately refer to it, you have to kiss a couple frogs before you get a prince. So you gotta not necessarily do the free jobs, but you have to be open to say, hey, I'll just stand here and hold a biscuit. And if that, but it's like, I'm on a biscuit too. But it's like that of just saying, of opening that hey, we are here to tell a story. You're getting it's cringy, but it's you're getting paid with quote unquote experience. I mean, you could also get
free biscuits.
Yeah, you get paid biscuits, but it's I think for me specifically, that's been a big gap of I've exclusively done theater. I know how to do theater work. I know how to get paid in theater. How do I get paid in film? How do my skills translate? So,
Jamie has things to say about.
Do you just want to say?
No. You act like you forgot what you were going to say.
No. So there is a resource for theater auditions. It's called Audition Every Time. It's a private group on Facebook. You do have to be invited. So you've now met people that can invite you. It is to ensure the integrity of the auditions that are coming out and the resources that are available, but that does exist. However, there's not actually anything like that for film. It's mostly theater that gets shared on that platform. There's a whole bunch of different pages that post about crew calls and looking for locations, and actually down here in the post I'm also looking for actors. So it gets lost sometimes for the actor side for film, I think. But there does live a place on the Book of Face. What else was I supposed to say?
I mean, there's actors and filmmakers.
That's what I was going to say. There's
Actors and filmmakers.
I was going to say the opposite. I only ever see casting calls.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
First and then second. So when it comes to getting paid on film sets, I think in May was essentially the first time I got paid this past May 2024 for a film set as a PA, right? So can I make a charcuterie board? Essentially, right? Can I do trash sweeps? Can I do these things? And literally, the only reason I got on that film set was because I knew a person, quite literally. And so a lot of getting paid for if you're gonna have the ability to get paid for a film in a crew sense and make your way up that quote unquote ladder or chain, a lot of it is truly just networking. And I think scenarios like this are going to be able to widen that gap to be able to get different kinds of people and more people on those film sets that you may have not had an ability to know before, so on and so forth. I'm over here.
Can you hear me? Okay. I think, and just saying from my own witnesses from the theater and the film, and again, this is just from my experience, and correct my wording, but I think one of the difficulties with theater, even though it's called a cult, but I feel like there's a lot, in my own opinion, is the tribalism. When I say tribalism, as in like different theater groups, different, organizations. And so when you're in one group, you're pretty much stuck to that group. Unless you go work for another group and there's some kind of conflict because the old group you're with, and then you're now with a new group, and they become some clash. If that makes sense. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. People like to work with people they know, and people like to be comfortable. I think that is like a very common thing that I've witnessed, and I think that like kind of sums up a lot of, quote unquote clickiness or whatever. It's a lot of like inner networking amongst like small groups is what it tends to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, on that subject, so I'll be honest with you, kind of coming back like on your point and on your point as far as like theater is concerned and the cultishness of theater, I believe that I was born and raised in Kansas City. I moved to New York, and I moved back during the pandemic. And I have felt more comfortable talking to film people and getting into that world, even though I barely touch it, and I have felt comfortable talking to theater people. And theater people is where, that's my heart, that's where I come from. That's what my degree is in, that's what I do. So I believe that, especially because there's 80 of them, as we said. So why in the world is there such a big gap there? I think that before we start trying to bridge the gap between the film and theater community, I mean, let's figure out this cliquishness within the theater community. Like, what's going on?
Imagine if there were 80 biscuits.
That's not enough biscuits.
Flavors.
That's not even enough for this room.
Alright, here we go. Yeah, so I want to respect the form of this event here a little bit, because I think like we got this panel of moderators up here, and so we've got to sort of intake what you're all sharing with each other now. I think we can sort of agree on that. And the goal of this is bridging the gap, and so what I don't want to do is just like rehashing the gaps, you know what I'm saying? So amongst my fellow moderators here, can you all talk about maybe some of the forward-thinking ideas and solutions that came out of your discussions?
Yeah, so I was in group 7, the best group, by the way.
No more gaps.
No more gaps. All groups were equally amazing. But we had quite a few great ideas. One of them was some sort of database that could include both theater and film individuals, especially when you have those shared talents, so that if you are someone, let's say in sound design, looking for another sound designer, you could go to someone in theater or in the film industry. And then we talked a lot about workshops and classes that would help bridge that gap between these two different specialties. So something like microphone strategies, script writing, lighting design, these things that happen in both industries but that are slightly different for each industry, and how we could sort of make those better for each people.
The arts are under attack right now. Kansas has lost its funding, and I'm sure Missouri, it's not great. We're struggling to make this happen, and in the world that we live, not to get political, art has always been a form of rebellion. Telling a story, even if you're not supposed to tell that story. And in order to tell that story, it is coming together. And who wants to hear that story? That's who we need to go find out too. And I think what we found, what we talked about is, talking to art not just amongst each other, but outside, to your family, to your friends. those are going to be your supporters, but also to strangers. And we can talk about like kids volunteering, maybe volunteering at schools, even doing free performances for kids, you know, to implement at a young age how important it is to do art. That's pretty much it.
We also talked about a directory and how cool and important that would be. We thought it was important though that however that happens, we have to make sure that we focus on the language, because there's a way you could still just create silos within a directory. And so making sure, like I talked about earlier, we're creating language where it translates between the film community and the theater community. So if you were to say, I want someone who does lighting, just a way that it would be able to incorporate all folks. We also talked about community building, which is what we're doing here and what's really important for sustainability. And so maybe coming up with, you know, an annual sort of event like this, or some way to keep checking in and touching base on where we are with this. And along those lines with sustainability, we would have to figure out who, like, Philip, if this is your lifelong, you know, goal, and this is what you want to dedicate all your time and energy to, that'd be great. But, you know, like, we need people that are going to continue this conversation and moderate the groups that we create and facilitate discussions if we just decide to get together for happy hour or something in a couple months. We also talked about how we need buy-in from the people who run and own the spaces, and how, because we talked about there's, of course, sorry, I'm gonna talk about the gaps. There's the gaps between the two communities, but there's also gaps between sort of like the corporate and independent spaces in both of those communities. And so having buy-in from the people who run and are really in charge of these communities and bringing them into these rooms too will be really important.
One thing that we talked about, Justin, raise your hand. Justin, there you go. It was his idea, was talking about formalized training and reaching back to college students and just having them do cross-training in both film and theater to make sure that they are well-versed in those areas, so when they do go out, we have a more comprehensive talent pool because they haven't had that formal training.
So just to add on to what you're saying, I think that that would be a good place too, is like, if you guys want to build that younger crowd, because I know you guys mentioned as well, I think Paul mentioned, like, theater is kind of like, I guess, the dying art or whatever, but it's, a lot of younger people are not as invested in theater. And I think that if you guys showed that gap, or the connection between theater and film, that would add like the university levels and stuff like that, started getting those people involved. That also just sort of builds that group of people that come out of college that you guys have worked with, they have experience, you know. That would be, I think, helpful for you guys in general, so.
So what I'm hearing is intentionality, right? Where there's to be intentionality on many different levels that can be like layered from like, you know, theater to, or connecting theater and film, or just connecting like the hierarchies in those individual spaces as well. And that there needs to be, you know, a community, an individual, whatever, a stepping up aspect to make this happen. But also with that, these things can happen, then they can go away. Right, so like you have to be forward thinking. When I hear you say schools, colleges, universities, elementary schools, middle schools, whatever, that is being intentional about like the next up, right? Because we are not the end all be all. We are the present, and we are going to continue to do things in the future. But once we're long gone, what's happening after us, right? And I have a lot of friends sometimes, and you know, this can be anecdotal for people who I've known who went to film school. And film school teaches you a lot of different things, but film school misses out on the business aspect of like how to engage with the business aspect of a film, how to get a film made, what does funding look like, how to hustle, right? Because we're in Kansas City, we're doing independent things. You have to turn over every single stone to get things made. But that is a mentality, but that can just be taught. And you don't know what you don't know until you know it. You know what I mean? Or it's been exposed or expressed to you. I'll give you a second. You had your hand raised? Or no, you didn't? Okay. Oh, he was just all about it.
Just quickly, two things. Yes, we talked about promoting each other, but showing up for each other. If you know somebody who's having a play, go to that play. If there's film going on at the film festival, go to that film festival, even if you're not part of that world as much. That's kind of how you merge into it. I got into this, I actually worked in insurance for years, and then I volunteered at the KC Film Festival. Matt Phillip, he got me on set, and now I'm here almost a year later. So, I mean, it's really just intentionally putting yourself out there and just, it's working for free, but also it's very satisfying inside. I felt more satisfied leaving a set, making no money than, with all the sales that I did in insurance. And then another thing I want to say is, movies have trailers, theaters don't, but we can make that happen. So we can help each other in that way. Having the film like, hey, I know you're doing a rehearsal, let's film this rehearsal, and this could be the trailer to bring people to come watch this performance.
I know a person who does that very well. His name is Logan. And Logan, kind of talk about, if you don't mind, just kind of explaining what Heartland KC is, what you do, and how you recently have used film to kind of help advertise and promote what you have going on in the theater space.
Yeah, so shameless plug. Heartland Arts KC is a nonprofit I founded 4 years ago. You're all artists here, so it's essentially devised work based off public policy. And so we started 7 weeks ago, a group of artists of any discipline. So we had 4 musicians, 2 of them classically trained. We have a comedian, a poet, a theater actress, and a visual artist. This cohort of 8 people have learned from community experts in the field of infrastructure policy and have now written a musical with 4 original songs, and it's being choreographed by the Kansas City Ballet. It takes this long to explain it. However, on our Instagram, there's a docuseries following this process. So we meet twice a week for 2.5 hours to do this. And all these artists, they're getting paid $1,000 to do this process, but the value for them is the work. And what I reckon here, one of the things we talked about, from the film folks is we just want more reps. We just want more opportunities to do the thing. And so there's also this attitude here of if you want to do the reps, you can do the work. Nothing's stopping any of us from pulling up in the garage and acting and getting better that way, so that the larger opportunities do come. But to the point of promotion, that's where we're putting our money. It's a nonprofit. We raised, $15,000? 8,000 went to artists, the rest went to film, in hopes that we'll sell tickets. We got 160 seats to fill, we sold 13 tickets. So even that isn't it is next Friday, next Thursday and Friday. You all can fill the seats, it's a dope show. Yeah, it's a dope show that is, no one else is doing that really in the region, and so, but people are receptive to process, even going back to this marketing, promotion, social media strategy, it's the behind the scenes stuff that's just more interesting. It's the day in the life type of stuff. We've all seen movies, we've all seen plays. That's not necessarily gonna build intrigue anymore. The market is saturated, people are numb to the work. And so it's our job as artists to get people reinvigorated in the work. And that has to start with us being passionate about the work. And so, yeah, we're documenting the work. It is a cost, but I think it's gonna build into something really cool. So come to the show.
You should. It's very fantastic. And to that point, Nate Collins is the person working with Logan to make this happen. And he's a crazy talented individual. It is astounding how talented he is. And he's not here, but I've known him since AAU in 8th grade. He's gonna allow me to say this. He is an introvert. He's a very introverted person, and because of that, he doesn't put himself out there in certain situations because he's incredibly talented, but he doesn't have the, in terms of networking, a lot of times when you're more extroverted, things come easier in whatever it is. But he's taking advantage of a situation also where I connected him with Logan, and then Logan and then all of a sudden on the Instagram, there is these, once again, please follow. It is astounding the work they're doing, but it's astounding the visuals behind the work as well, right? So he's not, Nate is like, I'm doing the work for you. It's gonna showcase your amazing situations you have happening, but also he's showcasing his own talent. So he's self-investing as well, because he's shooting it and he's editing it. If you shot anything and edited it, you know, Patrick, how long of a process that is. And so, there's a diligency that goes along with it, but once again, it is taking advantage in a healthy way of opportunities that may come your way, few and far in between, but is once again, when they're there, what will you do with it?
What you said about putting in the reps really resonated with me. I think the way you framed that makes opportunities to put in reps feel more fun, feel less high stakes, and more like an opportunity to explore a curiosity or meet some people and try a new skill or something like that. And I wonder if that might be a really effective way to kind of frame those bridged opportunities, which is just like, hey, you need to put in reps. I am working on some lighting and I need someone who's got a dumb little story and like a couple of actors to fill it in. Like, do you guys just want to put in reps this Saturday or whatever? And it's like, no one's getting paid, right? Like, that's the expectation, but like me and a few friends who are actors get together once a week just to do that. Like when we don't have something we're working on, just to keep the craft up and like be one another's audience and that kind of thing. Like everybody's hungry to put in the work.
Just wanted to put on your radar that our Saturday seminar that we are wanting to do in June is going to be about film financing and how you can look at turning over every possible creative rock in terms of how do I finance my film. So that is lots of to be determined things.
This is fantastic. But in a second, I'm gonna go to the third thing. In a second, we'll get to. In a second, but I just want you to know that putting in the reps, that's fantastic. And once again, this is an idea of if you're in theater, how do you make your way over to the film community? At the end of the day, that is like the goal of this specific event. There are events happening all over Kansas City all the time for a multitude of events, all of different things. But this right here is that event. So if there are opportunities to approach people who, they're in film and they may have been in your small group or they may have been in a different group, whatever. But if you want to make the step to take those reps, this room is full of people that can give you that ability, pre-production, production, and post-production. So please, 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 in like a not Supreme Court way, but please, please, please make sure that you take advantage of these opportunities because, you're here, it's happening right now, but like you never know when like the next, we're gonna wait a complete year to the next one, like once again, take advantage. No, okay, here you go.
Did the other groups talk about the one-night stand at all? Yeah, we did. We talked about it a lot. Well, that's a perfect opportunity to get reps in. That's why I'm bringing it up. That's 3 months from now. That's not right now. So do right now, the thing. But that's a perfect opportunity. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Jamie, and she's going to explain what it is.
I think Will wants to talk about it.
I think Will wants to talk about it. Okay.
He's like, here.
I'll do it, yeah, okay. So I was actually sharing this, Drew and I, in our group, and so the one night stand happens in June, and I believe it's the 28th this year. I'm pretty correct on that. Okay, so June 28th, mark your calendars. That's a day that you can get in front of a camera and do your thing. So it's a challenge called One Night Stand because it all happens in one day. It's a 10-hour film challenge. So we started at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and IFC puts out a prompt, and you'll get like a line that has to be included, a style of your film, and one prop. And then you got about 2 or 3 hours to write a script, 2 or 3 hours to shoot it, 2 or 3 hours to edit it, and then you got to turn it in. And then the beauty is that we all come together at the end of the evening and watch our films on the big screen at one of the theaters. That is like one of the coolest things. It was actually the thing that broke me into the IFC. I had never heard of the group, and that's where I got my start. But what's really cool is I had showed up to the meeting the month before in May, and I'm pretty sure we're doing this again too, correct? So in May, this is a huge opportunity for this room, we do the Actor Showcase. So our May IFC meeting, which will be the third Wednesday of the month, is your chance to come in and deliver a monologue in front of all the directors and filmmakers in the room. I cast my entire thing from that last year. I didn't know any actors because I had just really broken into the scene. I didn't know anybody, and I cast my entire thing, and one of my actors was one of the 2 best actors out of that, and it ended up being fantastic. So that's a huge opportunity for you guys to get involved. It's a good place to get to meet all of us, and like that day, I mean, I think the theater's got like 300 or 400 people in it that night. I mean, it's like filmmakers and actors, and it's just a really great day. And your commitment from an acting standpoint is like 2 to 3 hours because we don't have enough time to do anything else. So you don't get 85 takes on the biscuits, I'm sorry. You're gonna get like 2, okay? So it'll be only 2 biscuits that day. But great opportunity, and hope you guys will see you guys at that because it'll be a good chance.
Also, we are doing micro shorts for the IFC every single month for meetings. You have an opportunity to make a 1-minute micro short based on.
And these have to be 1 take, so they only will take 1 minute to make.
Yes.
This one, yes.
So,
This one.
but all that to be said, right? Like this is, one night stand, micro challenges, all kind of stuff. That is IFC centric. But you don't necessarily have to only do things IFC centric. That just gives you an opportunity to, have an opportunity to get the reps, right? In like a more organized way. But in a general sense, once again, the garage with some friends, with some people you may have, not known beforehand, but you want to see what their ability is about in a low stakes environment, whatever, right? But like the idea is to get the reps in and to get your way into this community. Because Kansas City is growing, the film community is growing. There's a lot of people coming from out of town, coming into town. But if you're from here or you're living here currently, why would you not want to, be involved, right? It's like being in, California in, 1848. You know what I mean? Like Gold Rush reference, but whatever. But it's like history, whatever, I teach you. But like, it's like being involved in that kind of way, you know what I mean? So we're gonna take a few more, and then we're gonna go on to the final thing, which won't necessarily be nearly as long. A few more statements.
Philip, I just wanted to quickly add, kind of getting back to what we were talking about with promotions and advertising and all that stuff, that also applies to you as an individual, because this is a business where we're looking for people to build our teams with, and it's very collaborative. And one word that I want to shout out tonight is persistence. One thing that you can really do for yourself is to persistently be in front of people that you want to work with. It's funny, like in the last year, I never dreamed I would meet so many people in my entire life. And as projects come and go, you may not work with everybody on every project, but there's probably a handful of people that I know off the top of my head that I'll work with them probably on my next project just because of their persistence and always reaching out, even if it's just like once a month, to be like, hey, you got anything coming up? What are you working on? Let me know what you're working on. We're working together really soon because of that. And there's Luca, you've been doing that. So I can call out examples in this room of people that have been doing that, but that persistence keeps you top of mind. Top of mind awareness is important when we've got a lot of things going on and there's a lot of people that could jump into things. So it just little things like that. So marketing yourself as an artist is very important. So get engaged, find the ways to do that. And once you meet all of us tonight in the speed dating thing that we're doing, you'll have all of our contact information. You can pester the hell out of us. So
please pester.
I was just gonna ask when the actor showcase thing in May is gonna be.
It'll be the third Wednesday of May. It's the third Wednesday, and I believe we put out a sign up for that, Jamie, is that
Hi,
right?
sorry.
Oh, sorry you are, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I called you, sorry. But-
Yes.
That's like the 21st?
Yes, the 21st, yeah. I know it's been said tonight, but if you guys are not in the IFC Facebook group, IFC Kansas City Facebook group, that's where like all of this gets shared. So that's a great resource to join to know when all those meetings are coming up.
I think it's called IFC KC Community.
Yeah, that one, IFC KC Community. Thank you. Thanks.
So before my brilliant networking speed dating opportunity comes, we're gonna have two more statements, questions, wherever they are.
Oh, I'm just gonna self-promote. I like being a background extra, so if you need some background girl number 6, that's me.
There you go. That's it right there.
Well, that counts. Okay, fantastic. Skylar Johnson, follow her at Skylar Johnson on Instagram.
I just, I mean, I obviously know the answer, but when, I've heard a lot of people say reps. So why don't we just go ahead and just tell the audience what that is? Representation?
No, repetition.
Oh.
Like exercise.
Oh.
Keep, like, get in, do a bunch of.
See, I thought, I was like, that can't be it. Like, I mean, I do reps, but like, but anyway, it just does make me think that like, cause there's also, from the theater world is that, there's the KC Fringe Festival, which I've met people that are just like, oh, that's exclusively like plays and whatnot. It's not just plays, it's like some short films, it's dance showcases, it's whatnot. It's all these incredible things that it's, you're able to fully, I'm not a part of the committee or anything like that. I've just tried to get into KC Fringe for so long. But it's a great opportunity to flex not only like your theater skills, but your filmmaking skills and whatnot. I think it's in July, like they've already closed applications, but it's in July. And it's another networking thing that once you get in, they'll give you the space and you yourself will have to build your own team. And you know, be able to like bring in your show and then take it out in the next show and like a revolving door. And I just thought that that is interesting because film's been around for like roughly a century. Theater has been around for millennia, but there is truly no difference because at the end of the day, we're all storytellers, and it's nice to be around a community that is encouraging. Because I know that I've sent out my scripts and people have been like, ew, no. And I'm just like, well, fine. And it's, but having everyone open their arms and saying, no, like, let's see this new work. And that is, I think, like a first step to really reaching out. Like, I will now beginning reaching out to film people saying, hey, could this theater script be a short film? It's about
well, and
it's
it
about
can
biscuits.
be. That's a great point.
It's about biscuits.
All right, biscuits. Oh, fantastic.
You mentioned something about rejection. We are in an industry where we constantly will be rejected, and we've got to just keep our heads and just persistence, and our egos too. I think egos is what stops us from connecting with the other industry, the film industry, theater industry. So just really stepping out of yourself, get over yourself in a way, and be the voice for the other person that no one's listening to.
And to that, I just say, and this is the final words, no. I think being comfortable or trying your best to be comfortable in certain uncomfortable situations in a healthy way and knowing your boundaries and what you are comfortable with yourself is very, very important, right? But sometimes you gotta put yourself out there, sometimes you gotta do things you wanna do. Example, I told you about the play. I'm not in the theater world at all, like at all. I met Terrence because he auditioned for my feature film, Midwest Skid Mark. And he literally couldn't do it because he got the job, couldn't do it because he was working doing Charlie Brown, the Coterie, right? And through that, I was like, oh, he's in theater. So all of a sudden, 2 years later, I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but I want to get the reps in of writing. So who in theater do I know that I can contact? Terrence, all of a sudden now, he's directing it, and we have that play happening. Was I comfortable putting myself in the situation? No, but I wanted the reps, so I put myself out there to try and make this happen. Was it guaranteed it was gonna happen? No. Sometimes you're on the same page, sometimes you're not on the same page, right? But it's all about the effort you try because you have belief in yourself in whatever that is, right? That can be lighting, that can be sound, that can be acting, that can be writing, directing, whatever it is. But YouTube exists. Like, I didn't go to film school, but I know what a URL is. And I typed it into YouTube and I was like, it's time to cook. You know what I mean? So this stuff's very, very important. And I appreciate you all being here because, you know, these are important conversations to have because these communities, film and theater, are going to continue to grow in Kansas City. Kansas City is becoming a transit city. Patrick Mahomes is like, people, because of him and the Chiefs and love, like people love Kansas City for different reasons. They're coming here. The community in general is growing. So the film and theater communities are also growing. So we need to be able to grow with it in healthy ways and be able to maneuver in healthy ways so that we can continue on and be, you know, and
Keep telling stories.
keep telling stories. And there's actually one thing I want to end on before we go on. Logan, your group said something about like the goals of like what you want to, what are your actual goals in filmmaking for the community itself? And it's like, you know, just talk about a little bit about that and kind of just the importance of just like having this thought process.
Yeah, I think, group, I'm gonna try my best. It was a very nuanced conversation. But like what it comes down to is like, what does Kansas City wanna be? Like, do we wanna be a Chicago, a Nashville, like a destination, or are we comfortable being a stepping stone to get there? And what does that mean for our mentality? Do we wanna be a place where it's like, I know I can always go there, I can do the work, I can put in the reps and take that with me, then come back and keep doing the work? I think like it comes down to like collectively, what is the attitude? Because someone said like, I want to be able to go somewhere, have on my resume that I did work in Kansas City, and they go, oh, that means something. In the same way you go to Chicago, it's like, oh, you were in Chicago. Like, we want that same affect here in Kansas City. And it's a matter of one, what are the places that start to establish that reputation? And two, like, what is that work? And I'm glad you gave me the mic back, because I was like, there's one thing I would be remiss. We talked about the importance of criticism in our community. Film critics, theater critics, like actual criticism, trained critics, trained reviewers of all of our work. Because at the end of the day, so, like, I've made bad shows, and I needed people to tell me, Logan, that was not good. And all of us need to hear that, because if we all come together and we're like, my stuff's great, and we're all wrong, like we need to know what is not good so that the things that are good can be celebrated. And we need to, as a community, celebrate the work that is really good. And it's a matter of critics that do that, but it's also us being able as a community to be like, it's accountability, you know, like it all comes down to the craft at the end of the day. Anyone can pick up and write a play, anyone can write a movie, you know what I'm saying, but there's levels. There are real levels, and so I love that we were talking about workshops and classes, but yeah, like what we were trying to figure out, what is it that we want out of Kansas City? It's just like, all of this adds up to just like, what is our identity? What does Kansas City mean for an artist's career, and how can we collectively agree upon that and move in that direction?
That is important. I'm sorry. I continue on. But that is important because that is something that doesn't end when we leave here, right? These are conversations that continue on because they're important conversations. And for the actual change or the actual establishment of something, whatever we want Kansas City to be, that conversation has to continue past this. It has to continue on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And we have to be aware that these conversations are happening and where they're going towards, right? And that is communication amongst yourself internally, but it's also communication with the network and the community that you're in. And that is incredibly, incredibly important. And that is just, I think, the perfect thing to end this portion on. Yes. So I want you all to give a fantastic round of applause to because they are not in the film or theater community, but their perspective matters because I know this. And when you are working on a play, when you're working on a film, you can't always just depend on the community you're in. You also have to reach out to people that aren't in your communities. And you have to know how to do that, know the language of how to do that, and how to maneuver in those certain networks. And so their perspective of not necessarily being in the film community, some are, but some of them aren't. But their perspective matters all the same. So with that being the case, okay. So I want all of you to come to the front 2 rows. And there's definitely not enough chairs. So bring your, so I will bring some chairs with you.
If you are a member of the IFC, you get 15% off on lights on gear rentals. Did anybody know that? Okay, great. What was the question?
We love discounts.
We love discounts. We love discounts, and we love a good community partner. So we want to start highlighting our member benefits. We can go to the next one, which should be all of our member benefits. Yay! One of our key member benefits, which has been so cool since getting it, is access to Masterclass Online. Does anybody know what that is? Has anybody done these? Yay! I have been devouring it and enjoying it so much. For those that you don't know, there are directors, filmmakers, cinematographers, writers from all different levels, of all different backgrounds, who have very differing views on how they approach their creative work. And you get to watch them and enjoy them. And you get all of that for free at our base membership of $50 a year. This also gets you discounts to all of our competitions. It gets you discounts at places like Lights On. So there's a lot of benefits to not only you being a member of the IFC, but just supporting the IFC. With that, we're able to do programming like this. Thank you to our home of the Bird Comedy Theater for being our host and being so amazing.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. All right, here's what we're going to do. So, your voice. So, this side. Okay, but now they are. All right, so this side, the side closest to me, you both have 1 minute to talk to the person in front of you. And you have 1 minute to give them your information. Facebook, not Twitter, no one does that. Facebook, Instagram, phone number, email, whatever. None of this matters if you can't contact the person that you're in the room with. Please, one person, 2 people, biz cards, whatever. Find something that you can get in contact with them in some kind of way. You have, I said 1 minute, psych, you have 45 seconds. So, hold on. So, hold on. All right, hold on. Hey. Settle down. All right, so, after the 45 seconds, I'm gonna say it, so you can't be talking too loud because or attention beers, as I tell to the children. So, the people who are closest to me, I'm gonna say, next, you stand up, you move 1 seat over. Next, stand up, you move 1 seat over. We're speed networking. To the right. Jamie, thank you. You stand up, you move to the right, closest to me. All right, does that make sense? Because once again, the purpose is, this does not stop here. This continues on past this point. And I'm gonna force it, obviously. So when I say go, that's when you start, got 45 seconds. Hold on. Yes. No, you have 45 seconds. You have 45 seconds to combine. All right, now, hold on, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
So, building on what Philip said earlier, the arts community is a very large community with a whole lot of talent, not just in film, but on the stage. And the IFC is going to, of course, as you mentioned earlier, we're going to have a fringe program. We're going to have 3 screenings. And one of the opportunities to tell a story at any festival is come up with a concept, right? Well, we have this competition that we didn't have on our schedule. We went ahead and added it for Fringe, and that's the Every Picture Tells a Story competition. Who here? Who here does not know what the Every Picture Tells a Story competition is? Okay, you have a few hands. All right. So basically, it is filmmakers telling stories about other artists, right? The idea is that you would connect with a painter or a dancer or a sculptor or a burlesque artist or a musician or something and tell their story in a short film. Mostly it's documentary style, sometimes it's been fiction. So it's kind of wide open. But we are encouraging anyone who wants to make a Every Picture Tells a Story film for our Fringe screenings to connect with Fringe artists. There's a whole bunch of people performing in Fringe. Who here in this room has a Fringe program of their own or is performing in Fringe?
Auditions are Friday.
Yeah, auditions are Friday. So if you're interested in making an Every Picture Tells a Story film, a one-night stand film, that's earlier. Every Picture Tells a Story film, and want more information and want to see some of the previous films, get in touch with me. I'd be happy to talk more about it. But if you are someone who is interested in participating in the IFC's film program, A, it's a competition, you like competitions and you could win, and B, it is a great opportunity to connect with those artists on the 24th and tell their stories in a film. And do that at Fringe Festival, which is an incredibly good fundraiser for the IFC. So you not only help connect with their artists, but you also help the IFC pay to do the things that we do for the community. So, thanks. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, do not move. Hello. Oh, all right, stop. All right, here we go. All right, do not move. Sit down. No. That was the last one. Sit down. Breath. Hold on. Conversations need to halt. Settles crazy. Conversations need to halt for just a second, please. Now, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I appreciate you all doing this with the IFC. I appreciate you all doing this with me, because once again, all this is very important because I said this, I'm gonna paraphrase. I was spitting bars earlier, but we need to continue to build the community around us and raise each other up and not just reach for above, right? So this is an opportunity to make that the case through the film community and theater community as well. Follow me on Instagram. I have not sat down. So follow me. If you don't, follow me on Instagram. Brother Abe Films, BROTHAABE, Brother Abe Films on Instagram. It's like a white background, black chair, the whole thing. If you need my phone number, please contact me. I'm not saying it out loud. But one, I appreciate you all for coming through, but remember, this is not about this moment right now. This is a continuation towards, tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year. These conversations, I heard a lot of people having a lot of good conversations and networking right now, but continue networking after this. If you are overstimulated, if you can't be the only one. If you want to continue to have a conversation with somebody you may have found interesting afterwards, somebody you want to connect with on a deeper level in terms of film or theater or whatever, of all these things and reasons we're here now, I believe Easy In is open. And that is on Strawberry Hill. Go there, have a conversation while also supporting local business. That is a fantastic thing we also do here. Please go there, do that. It'd be greatly important to do so. You don't gotta go home. Hold on, I didn't finish that. Patrick's gonna say.
Also, this was an IFC KC event. Make sure you follow IFC KC on socials. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And we meet the third Wednesday of every month at the Bird Comedy Theater at 7 o'clock. We have great programming. If you don't like it, go yell at Sam. That's right. We also have a film competition coming up, the 135, that will screen on April 26th. We also have a couple slots open still if you want to compete in the 135. If you're a filmmaker and you want to sign up for a slot, contact the IFC. That's the IFC plug.
That's the IFC plug. My first time doing this. Patrick's a guy. Patrick Gossett. Also, hold on. I'm not done. Appreciate the claps. I swear. Over here, we have sign-in sheets for people who want to possibly be on a team for, is that right?
One night stand.
For 2 competitions we have coming up. Right here, the Actor Showcase, which is happening June 18th. You can sign up right here. And then also, the one night stand, if you're interested in a one night stand, trying to find a team, maybe you don't have a team, whatever, you can sign up right here as well for June 28th. This is Jamie, the president of the IFC. Appreciate you all for coming out. This was a fantastic turnout. We're going to have a few more events throughout the year that I'll put on through the IFC, with the IFC, but also, once again, the IFC is continuously doing things throughout the year. They have meetings once a month that you can go to, that it's not snowing no more. I mean, it's the Midwest. It might, I don't want to jinx it, but in theory, it's not snowing anymore. So you can make your way out there if possible, obviously, because everybody has lives and jobs. But there are opportunities for, once again, to put your foot in the door for opportunities to create, not just for yourself, but for the community around you as well. That's my message. All right. Once again, thank you for coming out. You can continue conversations afterwards at the Easy In specifically because local business, and the IFC is signing out. Good day.
I'm Brent Custer, theater actor, and we just wrapped up the Bridging the Gap event tonight, and it's pretty much exactly what I wanted. I am mostly a theater actor, but want to dip my toe into film a little bit more, and there were, 50 to 100 or so people here, and I only recognized maybe 4 or 5 faces, so it was really cool to meet all these people that swim in the same waters as I do, but I've never interacted with them before. So meeting a lot of different people from the film community was great. This was a fantastic event to bring the film and theater communities together.
Hi, I'm Jordan Nosler. I'm here at Bridging the Gap. I think it was an all-around total success. It allowed people to network and figure out, ways to journey from one side to the other, and the ways that we can all connect and actually work together in the different avenues that we want to as well. So I think people were able to conversate and find more people who they can work with in the future.
Hi, I'm Mason Dredge, and I had a really great experience here today at Bridging the Gap. I think it was really cool to meet so many new artists that I haven't seen before at IFC events, and I was able to network with a lot of them. I got a lot of contact information, and I plan on working with a lot of them really soon, and I think that's really awesome.
Philip Dixon, Special Events Coordinator for the Independent Film Coalition of Kansas City. This event was better than I could have hoped for the first time. There was 60 to 70 people here. People kept trickling in. The conversations that were had were astounding, they were helpful, they were fruitful, but not just fruitful for the moment, but fruitful for the future as well. I'm confident that these conversations won't stop here. They will continue forward. People will have larger conversations and community-based conversations and conversations that just need to be had because Kansas City is a growing film community and we can't neglect the theater community we can't neglect the theater community. They are storytellers, they were artists in the film or in the Kansas City community in a general sense. How do we get them to come to the film community? How do we collaborate? How do we bring the best out of each other? That is the answer was not solved today. But conversation on how to get to the answer is a step in the right direction because this is not something that was going to stop right now. This is going to continue for the future. And there are a lot of people here, including myself, that will make sure that's the case. So this event turned out exquisite, but it's the first event like this. It will not be the last event like this. And that's what matters most.